Hey guys, I'm Sam.
And I'm P-Man.
P-Man, yes, this is my dad. And today we're talking about dystopian sci-fi here in the dystopian state of Oklahoma.
Exactly.
All right, so what have we got to talk about first?
Okay, first thing I want to talk about is Herbert George Wells.
Oh.
Yes, the father of sci-fi.
Yes.
And I'm going with this because of the fact that this is really what started my interest in science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy, he created the stories. It's
Yeah.
like, here's the time machine. Every time story you ever read
yeah.
is after him. And he had the War of the Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So all the movies about aliens and spaceships, he already did that.
Yeah.
And you've got like the Island of Dr. Moreau, where we were making animal, human genetic splicing stuff.
Furries.
And it's like, making furries. Making furries. Anyway, and then there was like Men in the Moon. I mean, so he had it all going on, and even the Invisible Man.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the thing about these old books from like the Victorian era.
Yeah.
Is that all those stories became what they made all them, like when they were looking for scary movies to make in like the 1930s.
Yeah.
That's what they used. It's like you think about Dracula, came out of the Victorian era, from the 1890s, around there. And there was Dracula, and then there was the Invisible Man, and you got the picture of Dorian Gray.
Frankenstein.
That goes way back. That's even before Victorian. I mean, Mary Shelley was like doing stuff no one else was even thinking about.
Yeah, wasn't she like 19 or something when she wrote that book?
It was a fluke. It's like, I'm going to go and write it. Let's all go write a story.
Right? I think about that as a writer myself. I'm like, oh, okay, you were 19 and you wrote fucking Frankenstein.
Sure.
Cool.
But
meanwhile, what I've written.
It's like never wrote anything else that stood out. But it's like, hey, you did that. You did the great.
Yeah, one-hit wonder.
But it's
you did it.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
In The Time Machine, you think about how it's influence on a time machine, about time travel and all that kind of stuff. But really, the main story to me is about the main character. We don't even know his name. He's the time traveler, basically. Yeah. And he goes into the future. He is finding this society where there are these creatures, like humanoid creatures, whatever humans have become, and they're called the Eloi. So the Eloi are just these weak, frail little things that are very simple-minded. And so he's like, this is really what we've evolved into.
Yeah.
And he notices that there's like little plates of food set out for them, like mainly fruits and vegetables. Mm-hmm. And this is what they eat. But they've got like, they're just chilling. And there's all this architecture around that looked like we once had an advanced society that was up to something, doing things. But now this is where we're at.
Yeah.
But as this story progresses, we find out there's another race of beings called the Morlocks. And the Morlocks live under the ground. And they're kind of spooky. They're like these troglodyte things that are used to living under the ground. I don't know if you know the movie Chud.
Yes, I do.
In the 1980s, it was Chud. And it was cannibalistic, humanoid, underground dwellers.
Yeah.
And that's basically what the Morlocks
are. What a title.
I know,
what a
right?
title for a film.
It's like, you wouldn't put all that in there, but it's called Chud.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what the Morlocks are like.
Uh-huh.
They're like these little underground creatures, and they're cannibalistic in the fact that we find out that the Eloi keep disappearing. Like late at night, it's like you wake up the next morning and little Susie's gone. It's like, where'd she go? We're like, we don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
We got a bowl of fruit here, we're good.
So we're chilling.
And they've lost the ability to even be concerned about these kinds of things. And so it turns out the Morlocks are going in and they are just taking the Eloi one at a time, and that's their food. That's what they're eating. And so this is how society has evolved into what probably once was the haves and the have-nots. That you had your upper class who were catered to and had everything they could ever want, possibly, the wealthy elite. And then you had your Morlocks, which would have been the working class.
Yeah.
The working class working the machines and doing all that kind of stuff, living a totally different life. And now it has evolved into the point now they've become two different races of beings. And so that's what the future of humans are like. And so to me, that was really the point of the time machine. It's not really about the time machine and time travel. It's not really, didn't really focus on that.
Yeah.
It focuses on this social commentary about this is where we're going, or this is where we could go.
Yeah. Basically, eat the rich.
Basically, the rich. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also was the springboard for probably things like Metropolis, the Fritz Lang movie of the 1920s. That was the same thing. It was the same concept that up in the Cloud City or whatever, you've got the wealthy people, and then underneath you got the workers.
Yeah.
And so then it was that balance. And again, it leads us to things like the Hunger Games. That's the same theme. We're doing the same thing over and over again. And have been.
It's still relevant.
It's still relevant. Oh my God, is it still relevant?
It's still relevant.
That's what science fiction is to me. Because most people don't even like science fiction because it's usually dark. And it ends on a
downer.
On a downer, dark note. And that's really the point. It's a morality tale. And it's like, this is what life could be like if you don't get your shit together.
Yeah.
And so then that's where we're at. And so that would be the point. And H.G. Wells is telling us, this is where we're going. And it reminds me of what is that Disney movie, WALL-E?
Oh, yeah.
WALL-E? Think about WALL-E.
No, WALL-E,
It's like we totally destroyed the planet to the point where with all of our commercial excess, that we can't even live here anymore. So we get in spaceships and we go into the future. And now what are they doing? They're living in these little carts where they are so obesely overweight. All they do is tool around in their little carts eating junk food and watching television. They got little televisions in front of them. That's their whole life.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's kind of like, this is how we're going to evolve.
Yeah.
This is what we have become. I mean, it's a social commentary. That's what science fiction is.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's what it's all about.
Makes me want to watch WALL-E. So speaking of downer sci-fi.
There you go. So that led me to this. 1984, again, we're talking about, it's a morality tale. It's about this is what we could become. And to me, this is crazy that this was written, well, obviously, before 1984.
Yes.
It imagines what life will be like in the future.
The distant future of 1984.
The distant future of 1984. They didn't recognize that that's when, Ronald Reagan would be around.
Yeah,
But the whole thing that gets me is, I even marked a page because I wanted to make sure I got this correct and right. War is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. Those were like the party at the time. You had the ministry of thought and everything else. And the whole point was that we had a totalitarian government that pretty much told you what to think, what to believe, what to feel. But then they had what's called doublespeak. And doublespeak was about, we're going to tell you that war is peace. And we're just going to keep telling you these messages until you believe them.
Yeah.
And it's like you could have a job working at the newspaper, and the whole job of the newspaper is to go back in and correct all the information. It'd be like you go in the next day and it's different. It's like if you go read an article like today, if you were to read an online article, well, they can go back in and they can change that.
Yeah.
Which is like why Wikipedia is not supposed to be a very good source for information because somebody can go and just change it.
Yeah.
But you don't want your government doing that with information. And that's the whole reason. When you think about your episode, you talked about banned books.
Yes.
Most of the banned books you talked about were books that dealt with the very people who want to ban the books, want to establish a government that bans books. They don't want you to know.
Yeah.
They don't want you to have thought. They don't want you to question what they're doing. Because if you have an educated, intelligent, class of people who are actually questioning why does our government do what it does, well, then they don't want that. They want you to be a little mindless sheep. And that's the world we're living in right now. That's exactly the kind of government they want you to have because they don't want you to think for yourself. They want you to think the way they want you to think. And that's really what 1984 is all about. That you've got this world where you got Winston Smith, And he's just a regular guy living in this world, and he gets caught up in all the political intrigue of the world we've just described. He has his own little group of people that are trying to be sneaky, and he can sit in the corner. He's figured out, because every room has like a video screen in it.
Yeah.
So you can watch the daily news or whatever, but we all know it also is monitoring and watching every household. And so he's found a little corner of his house where he can hide and do whatever he wants to do, because it's just the right angle where the video screen can't see him.
Crazy.
And so he thinks he's being really sneaky, and he starts going out. He meets like-minded people, and he meets this woman, and they're hanging out and doing their thing, and thinking he's getting away with all this stuff. But it turns out the government knew all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so creepy. It's so creepy. And it's also so, like, I don't know, like all the, it's like Big Brother.
Big Brother, yeah, the whole concept of the Big Brother is watching you. That's the central theme of this.
Yeah.
The Big Brother, it's a benevolent figure. You know, it's a good thing. Big Brother is watching you, which means he's watching over you. But at the same time, he's watching you. You better watch out. He's like Santa Claus.
Yes, Dark Santa.
So anyway, 1984 is a classic. Everyone, this is one of those, either you hate it or you loved it. I loved it. This is one of those, I read it twice when I was in high school, required read. Everyone else is like, oh, this is boring, this is stupid, it goes on forever. Look how small this print is. It's just like dense with words. But to me, it spoke to me just in the same way The Time Machine did in books like that. That's like, there's a message here and we've got to hear it.
Now we got to talk about the icon, the legend. She is the moment. The Hunger Games.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite book series, like, of all time. Like this and maybe Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But again, it's the same thematically. It's about, let's do a future world where you got the haves and the have-nots. You've got the wealthy people in the capital running things. And then you've got all the poorer people living in the districts and how they're all put upon and all that. But it starts with the Great War, emerging out of the Great War, which is in the future of the United States. And then they have the capital where all the wealthy elite live, and then all the districts supply them with all their needs. And the whole point of the Hunger Games, it was invented to keep the people down. And they turned it into a spectacle. And the whole point is, let's take two teenagers, a male and a female, from each district, and they will go and fight in these games. And they'll fight to the death. And it's a spectacle, and it's put on television, and it's there for everyone to see. You can't avoid it. It's like, no matter how poor your district is, they're going to give you some nice flat screen TV so that you can watch the Hunger Games. And the whole point of it is to keep the people down. It's like to reinforce the thought that we are the capital, we are in charge, everyone else, watch your shit, because we're going to come in and we're going to take your children. And this is another theme that comes up in books like that. It's always about the children. You think about like The Giver.
Oh, yeah.
The Giver, a future dystopia. Again, when you're 12 in The Giver, you're going to be deciding what your future is. This is my future job, is going to be that. And it's like what's a book, Legend by Marie Lu. In that one, there's the trial.
Yeah.
And then in that one, it's like when you're 10, you're going to take a test, and it's going to decide what your future is going to be.
Yeah, 10.
When you're in Divergent, when you're a teenager, I don't know what the age is, 16, I think. That when, at that point, you're going to decide which of the factions you're going to go in. You'll notice these themes are throughout these books.
Yeah.
And it's the same for this. When you are a teenager, that's when they're going to come from you. And they're going to have you fight in these games. And what is going to be more heart-wrenching to a populace, to a group of people, than your children are always in danger?
Yeah.
They're the ones we're coming after. How else are we going to keep you in line? By constantly reinforcing your children are ours. And not only that, we're going to take them randomly. You don't even know who it's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really one of the main themes of the Hunger Games. And so what we've got is this little group of underground rebels that Katniss becomes a part of. that they want to fight against this government and what it stands for. And by her very existence, coming from the poor District 12 and then going into the games where she's supposed to just die. Just, would you die already? Would you just, please? I mean, that's really your job.
Yeah.
She keeps being more clever and finding ways to survive and beating out the people from the competing districts like District 1 and District 2, where these are like the subset. It's like you've got the government in the capital, and then the next lower level of elites are District 1 and District 2, and then so on. So you know when you get to 12 that you're the bottom of the rung, bottom rung of the ladder. And so anyway, the point being is that Katniss keeps persevering. And then the people are eating that up. They're loving her. And that goes against the whole point of the damn games, is to keep the people down, keep them in their place. We're taking your children and we're killing them. Hello.
Yeah.
It's a spectacle. It's a sport. The Capitol is enjoying it. You're supposed to be reminded that you never want to go up against the Capitol because that's bad. But basically what happens is she helps this underground movement, and then they're like, she's their symbol, and she becomes their Mockingjay, and then she becomes 2 more books. And then a movie series after that. But the reason is because it's so well written, it's so good. It gets to those same themes that I talked about in 1984 and in The Time Machine about the future, where you've got that divergent thing where you've got the wealthy elites and you've got the working class, and how they're always kept apart from one another. And that's just another reinforcement of that's the kind of the theme of today's show right here.
Yeah.
These are the kinds of books that I like to read. It tells you a lot about me and my personality. But the point is that these types of stories keep coming up and have been coming up as long as science fiction has been around. It's a morality tale, and these authors are telling you, you got to keep your eyes open. You got to be aware this is what's going on, and we can disguise it in this story, just like they used to tell fables.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell a fable. It's like, what's the one about squids will be squids?
Yes,
or whatever?
squids will be squids.
And squids will be squids. The main thing is they're telling these fables, and then it's like, well, the point is back in the day, you would tell a fable and you would always make it animals. And the reason you make it animals is because these animals can be doing stuff, and I'm not thinking, oh, I'm the king. I'm going to tell a fable about a king and what a little butthole he is. And the little mouse is going to overtake the king because the mouse is smarter, more clever, and everything else than the lion.
Yes, you make him a lion.
You make him a lion. And so we're not talking about the king.
We're talking about a lion.
We're talking about a lion. Hello. It's just a story about some animals.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. It's like, let's take a story and we'll put it in a fictional world with fictional whatever. And then people will read that, and then slowly it's like getting into their brain. It's like,
hey guys, wake up.
Wake up.
Yeah. No, I love that, because that's that's the type of stuff I feel like that I want to write, just because, it's like you have like this message and then you're able to say it in a way where people can actually digest it. It's not just another like news article. It's like you putting it in your own way so that people can understand it better.
Exactly. It's like if I were to read something in the news, or like a realistic fiction story.
Yeah.
It takes place in the here and the now.
Oh my God.
I may reject it. I'm going to push it away.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't want to.
Oh, that's too woke or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like.
not woke. Yeah.
It's woke.
Yeah. I also just don't want to read about like real life. So yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, you're reading about real life, but you're not when you're reading fiction.
It's like in a different lens.
Yes,
so that...
and I'm sure you've got fantasy books that are the same way.
Oh, yeah. No, exactly.
That they got those same themes running throughout, but it's like we're going to put it where we got a castle and a dragon or whatever.
Fun setting to say like the real shit. Yeah. Okay, so that was a quick little summary of some great dystopian sci-fi and why it's so important to read. So thank you guys for watching. Give it a like, hit the subscribe button and watch some of my other videos. You can see me talk to my mom in Oklahoma also wearing the same outfit. You can see me talking about banned books like The Hunger Games. So yeah, check out my other videos and thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.